everybody. I want to welcome you all to our next episode of Ask Norm. And there's a couple things I wanted to address that was in our last episode that we were asked a question, and I want to kind of get to that. We were asked, what are some of the most valuable Martins that we have? And what Nick Dias over here is holding is a 1934 Martin 00045, and that is a 14 fret, and that is OM scale length. It's a very unusual guitar, beautiful condition, one of my favorite guitars ever that I've ever owned. And then what Mark over here, Mark Ignisi, is holding is a 1928 Martin 00045, and that is the 12 fret version. This is the predecessor to that guitar. So prior to the 30s, these guitars were the top of the line. Eventually they did a D45, but that came out later on. So these were the top of the line instruments at that particular moment. The 45 style with the beautiful mother of pearl around the top, around the neck, around the back, beautiful inlay on the fingerboard, flower pot on the top. That one kind of a similar thing, but with a pick guard and the belly bridge as opposed to the pyramid bridge. Yeah. So these are like really cool Martins, and so we just wanted to kind of show you a little of this. What do you think about those guitars? Nick, what do you think on that guy?
It starts and stops with Martins, really. I mean, it's just the clearest tone. It's so loud I can't talk over it, really. It's got everything. Loudness, clarity, you can hear every single note, but it's very nuanced, you know.
They're like pianos.
So man. Sensitive, yeah.
They're like playing a piano with the
Yours is a little lighter braced. So
yeah, the pyramid bridge is a little lighter bracing, but still it doesn't quite have the volume of this guitar, but it still has the richness loud, and the fullness of everything. Really fantastic instruments.
So these were, you know, some of the most valuable Martins that we have in stock, and they're the prices of houses in certain towns, and they're really good. And then we've got a couple of shrunken guitars over here. These are actually ukuleles that we were talking about, you know, last episode. This is a Martin 5K, which is koa wood, fancy inlay like those 45s, you know, beautiful bound on the neck and the body, and just beautiful inlay. This is a koa wood 3K, which is also a gorgeous ukulele. These are both some of the nicest ukes that you're ever going to see. Amazing, amazing quality. And these are like shrunken guitars. There's a lot of workmanship, and sometimes it's hard to do when it's even more compact. Yeah. And speaking of shrunken, we want to bring our own shrunken head in over here from our store. We've got Joel Whitehead, who always he's our repairman, but he parades around with this chicken with my name on it, and he caresses it, he likes the hair. This is a chicken that was done up by my buddy Dan Duran, who, you know, thought it was a likeness to me with the gray hair, you know, a little of the steel wool up there. So anyhow, we're having fun over there, and Joel likes to manipulate this chicken. He is actually very good at it. Other than repairing guitars, that's one of the things he does really well.
Chokes chickens.
Yes,
chokes the chicken.
He does that as well. So,
hopefully not at work.
We like to have a little fun over here. Sorry about this, guys. But we're going to answer a few more of your questions, but we wanted to get to this. We wanted to clean up a couple things from last week's episode. And we want to thank you guys for all writing in the questions. We're reading every question that you guys write in, and we're trying to get to as many as we can. And we want to kind of fill in some of the blanks. So these were some things that we weren't able to get to last episode. We wanted to get to that. And then Nick, you got a few other questions.
Yeah, you know what? Well, there's two kind of skirting around the same thing. Jeremy G says, how do you buy guitars like these without paying trillions? And we had another question from someone in Denmark saying, you know, what's some of the more reasonably priced stuff that we've got around the shop that you would recommend? You know,
well, we have a lot of stuff that's also very reasonably priced, and you know, we have everything from beginner $100, $120 guitars that play that are decent, and then all the way up in every category. We're going to show you some stuff, some oddball stuff that's kind of cool too, that's affordable to a lot of people and also interesting and collectible, but not the most expensive stuff. So we don't want to be totally elitist here.
Yeah.
We have everything, but these guitars, the reason we kind of show you this kind of stuff is it's stuff that you're not going to see in most places or any place probably other than right here at Norm's Rare Guitars. And you were asking about me paying millions for things.
Yeah, he said, how do you get these without paying trillions?
Well, what I do is I generally pay like 2/3 of a trillion so that we can buy them here and sell
it for $1 trillion.
Right. So we try to buy the best stuff that we can, and we love having the cool stuff.
We like to have, if it's a cool guitar, we want to own it. We want to have it in the store so you can buy it.
Yeah, sometimes I have to buy in defense just to make sure the other stores
don't get it. Yeah, but we've always got cool stuff in each price range.
Every price range, and a lot of just cool used. Newer stuff that's good, functional stuff. We go through it, make sure it's playing good, sounding good, total pro quality at very reasonable prices for the guys that can't spend the huge money.
Yeah.
So again, so a lot of the stuff we showed you so far has been the higher price stuff and really interesting stuff. And I figure that's something that's kind of interesting to a lot of people. But we're going to show you some of the more affordable stuff a little bit. So yeah, we're going to take a walk around and show you just a few of the things that are kind of cool.
Cool.
So like starting over here, we wanted to show you, we have like some of the Dan Electro reissues. We also have some old Dan Electros also. These are cool, visually great, not expensive. These are in the $300, $400 range. We have the Dan Electro Belzuki, the sitar. That's a little bit more. We've got, Squires. We've got the, classic Vibe Squires, which are very affordable and they're a really nice guitar. We have Mexican Tellys, Strats, and then we've got loads of new American Strats, Tellys, Jags, bass sixes, just all kinds of stuff. And then as we're moving over here, this is some of our custom shop stuff. So this is used affordable Fender custom shop. And we always want to try to have some really good quality things that are cool, that are, priced affordably.
How's it going?
And moving into this direction here, we have, just some of the Mexican Jaguars. We've got American ones. We've got things like this Hofner 12-string from the 60s. Cool, not super expensive. This Goya over here, this Burns, some Mosrites, this Baldwin 12, this 12 over here, the Burns 12. And then as we're walking in this direction, we have a number of Les Paul Studios, which are very affordable. And, we love to deal too, so we have prices and, we're a little negotiable. We want to make deals as much as possible. We trade. And so there's a lot of affordable Les Pauls as we go in, a number of cool SGs that are affordable, some used Firebirds, a lot of just other stuff that is nice, interesting, and not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And they're ready to go. They're all playing good. And, we try to make sure everything is in good working order. Over here, we've got a lot of used Rickenbackers. Up on top, we've got a lot of American and Mexican and Japanese Strats, Tellys, just a variety of things. And as we come into this direction over here, we've got some used SGs, some cool Les Paul Juniors, some of the early Epiphone electrics. We have a whole lot of Paul Reed Smiths. These are all used, by the way. We have a section of left-handed stuff, which is very cool here. These are all pretty affordable left-handed guitars. There's also a left-handed gold top over there. There's a left-handed up on top there, Gretsch 6120 double cut. And then a lot of Les Paul customs, and these are all just good pro quality used guitars that are affordable for everybody. And again, we are negotiable. We'd love to, make deals as long as it makes sense for us. Moving into this direction over here, we've got loads of like these Les Paul reissues, R8s, R9s, R7s, some R0s. Right now, I don't think we have any R0s, but we have even more than what we're showing here. And then we get into some of the arch tops that we have. We've got some player grade arch tops, like this one over here is a refinished Epiphone Deluxe. We've got a refinished Cutaway Emperor. We've got all kinds of really nice, affordable things, and then we get into the major collectible stuff that we've been showing you. So I just wanted to address that, and just so you guys don't think that and loads of acoustics, by the way, that are affordable. But we just don't want you to think that it's all super high-end, because it's not. We want to appeal to everybody, and we don't want to turn anybody away. So we hope that you all will shop with us at Norm's Rare Guitars, and we love making deals, and hopefully you'll be buying some stuff from us.
All right, hey, we're back on the couch. We're just going to do a couple more questions. So I've got one from some indecipherable name. It says, if you came across a guitar that looked like absolute crap but sounded out of this world, would you buy it anyway to sell on?
And the answer to that, if it played good and it sounded great, probably yes. Because we have some people that are not really interested in the cosmetics, that want stuff that's, just sounds terrific. And so there's something for everybody. We know some of our customers really well. We know who are the guys who are buying strictly for sound, who don't want to pay for the mint guitar because they just want something that sounds good and that's functional. And then we have other guys that want stuff that has to be
absolutely pristine
and immaculate. And there's there's somebody for everything. So we have a whole list of people, customers of ours, that do ask for things that just sound fantastic. And when we spot that, we almost know who that guitar may go to.
Yeah, and sometimes because a guitar has been beaten around and used, every day of its life, sometimes they sound better.
Sometimes
they
just
might look
play,
like hell, but
I mean, it's like a Stradivarius, all those years of play does something, sound opens up.
Cool. All right, so we've got let me see, we've got another one
We
here.
want to keep this going on it,
Yeah, I know. How long does it take the lacquer on a guitar to start showing signs of age?
That depends on the guitar's exposure and climate. If you're in a certain climate where it's very warm or humid or dry or moist or whatever, that will affect
any extreme.
If it's lacquer. And lacquer, depending on how thick it was applied to the guitar, that will have a lot to do with it as well. If you got a very thin sheet on there.
What would be an example of it? I mean, what type of guitars have the thinnest layers of lacquer?
Well, a lot of the old Gibsons, just the finishes that were applied, they didn't want to smother them in finish, so they wanted the guitars to breathe, so they didn't put a lot of finish on them.
Makes sense.
And then what ended up happening is sometimes the dealers would complain because they would get like these little lines in the finish, so they started using polyurethane, which really is not great for sound.
Yeah, because it's thicker and it keeps the sound
Right.
trapped a little. I see. Okay, so we got another question from one of our fans in Japan, whose name, unfortunately, I don't speak Japanese. It says, "Hey Norm, I'm a big fan of Eric Clapton. What guitar or amp did he buy from you? Did he ever come to the store to try out the guitar, or just order by phone? Can you share?"
We've actually met a couple times, but I don't think Eric actually even knew who I was, to be honest with you. There was, when he was doing the auction for his charity, for Crossroads, I met him. There was a whole line of people, and I walked in. I said, "Hi, I'm Norm," and he said, "Hi, I'm Eric." We shook hands, and that was it. I don't know if he knew who I was or cared. I knew who he was, and one of my favorite guitar players. And we've sold him a few really nice guitars. We've sold him a few really beautiful D'Angelicos and a number of really great arch tops.
I remember, didn't he buy a Martin?
He bought a number of things from us. One thing that he got recently was a 16-inch Cutaway D'Angelico, which is very unusual in blonde with the floating diamond pickup.
So that's a smaller body than usual.
Yes,
would be,
it's smaller, but it had the appointments of one of the more top-of-the-line instruments.
Yeah, that thing was stunning. I mean,
Ridiculously
absolutely
nice.
stunning. And I think, I mean, he's so busy, it's hard for him to.
And so that was
go
actually
shopping.
done over the phone
Yeah.
through his tech,
Yeah.
and we sent pictures and all that. They knew what we had, and we sent it overseas, and he was very happy.
Now then, Limitless Chaos says, what is the weirdest thing you've ever found in a vintage guitar case?
Well, in this day and age, not so much, but back in the 60s and 70s, found people stashing the guitar case. There's coins and money that people had stashed in the back of an amplifier. One time I bought a beautiful concert amp along with a whole bunch of other things. And guy left it, apparently somebody was stashing money in the back of it.
Really?
It wasn't an enormous amount, but I mean, it was just
More than you
wacky.
paid for the amp?
Actually, yes. And the funniest
There you
thing
go.
is that
Turn
it
a
was
profit.
at a trade show, and I had no way of getting in touch with the guy. We tried to, send him a letter by the address and never heard back from
Never
him.
heard back from
So-
him. Well,
Things happen.
so magic mushrooms, lids of weed, all that stuff.
Kind of all the above,
Yeah.
So those were the days. There were a lot of people that had a little brain damage and, drug-induced brain damage, and, that's just the way it was in those days. Don't see too much of that anymore. I think people are becoming a little more
Calm
conscious.
down a bit.
Yeah.
All right. There is another question that's kind of a big question. It says, Gabriel Baker wants to know, Norm, why do vintage guitars hold more value?
Well, like I've said before, value has to do with supply and demand. If there's, 1,000 of something and 1,000,000 people want it, that drives the price up. If there's one of something and nobody cares, that doesn't increase the value of the thing. So value is really placed on demand more than anything.
Right.
So, I mean, you can't just arbitrarily just throw a figure out there and not have people laugh at you. There has to be some kind of basis for it. And a lot of times the values are based, we are in touch with a lot of dealers, collectors throughout the world, and we see what they're pricing their things
What
at. And
everybody
that's how
else
we
is
know
doing.
where to price our stuff. We want to be competitive, and we like to negotiate,
Yeah.
and we want to turn a profit. Sometimes it's not a huge profit.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we would like to keep people coming back, and by not massacring them, they do come back and
All
see us
all our
more.
customers are repeat customers.
That's right.
But yeah, I suppose it just because it's vintage doesn't mean it's valuable.
No,
though.
not at all.
It's got to be a great guitar or a model
Absolutely,
that
something
everybody
that a lot
wants.
of people want.
Yeah.
And again, I want to thank all you guys for writing in these letters. You guys are the coolest. We
Keep
love
them
you
coming.
all. They,
Yeah, that's it. Keep them coming. Great questions. We've
Yeah,
got-
I'm surprised there's really not a lot of knucklehead questions, even though we're happy to answer
Yeah.
some of those from time to time. And we read them all, but we want to try to get to the ones that we think are most appropriate and ones that you folks might dig out there. So anyhow, we're going to be closed next week. We're going away, and we're going to reopen on the 26th. We love what we do. We love being around guitars, but next week, I don't even want to see a guitar.
No.
So thank you all for writing in. We're going to be looking at your questions, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Ask Norm.
All right. Bye from On the Couch with Norm.